Yeah, yeah. So kick it off. Moving on to Louisville, right? Their under win total is also 9.5. You have four teams in the ACC where the over under is at 9.5 to me, which is a lot, right? So a lot of teams have to win, have to be feeding on the bottom feeders, and that makes sense. You've got four teams with either 4.5 or 3.5 win totals, so like that to me tells you there's some parity in this league. But to be honest, in my opinion, I think the top of the league is a little bit closer to the middle than some people think. And obviously, my question for Louisville coming up, they're losing a lot, right, to the NFL draft and to graduation, all that good stuff. I believe you got, you got about 10 guys, very talented roster, 10 guys that might be, practice squad guys at least in the NFL. So that's a lot of guys you got to replace on obviously a very successful season this past year going to the ACC championship game. Does the transfer portal class, how many holes can it stitch up? They're bringing in 26 guys. That's a lot. And I know that Jeff Brom had to do that last year a little bit, and he hit on some guys. Jack Plummer, most notably Jamari Thrash, guys that did really well for him. And I like Storm Duck. I like some of the guys he brings in, right? You got Penny Boone. They're interested to see him. Obviously, we know a lot about him, but we'll see how that goes. The quarterback room, with Tyler Shuck coming in, is he going to be healthy for spring practice? I'm not too certain about that. So we'll see some other young guys in there. But you're bringing in Ja'Cory Brooks. You're bringing in, Colin Lacey, some other guys that I do really like, and I'm interested to see. And so we'll see how they slot in. Are they battling for depth positions, or are they pushing for that starter positions and really bolstering the top end of this team and of the roster?
Absolutely. One question that I have is this offensive line going to be good again? Right? You're relying on a lot of transfers once again this year. Eric Miller, I thought was pretty good last year for them. They brought him in, but you're bringing guys like Victor Cutler, uh, Pete
Jonathan
Negra,
Mendoza.
Jonathan Mendoza, Monroe Mills. I mean, so there's a lot of new faces on the offensive line. If I'm hearing stuff out of spring camp saying, wow, this Louisville offensive line looks really good, I'm going to feel really good, right? But it might take a while, right? Like we might not hear really not good things about this offensive line until fall, right? It's going to take a while for these guys to mesh. What's nice though is that these are a lot of transfers, so they're all there practicing in the spring. So
Yeah.
that is very key. That is something that it's kind of underrated, I guess, with the transfer portals that these guys can get on campus right away and start spring practice. But that's going to be my thing for Louisville. Like, can this offensive line figure it out, and can they figure it out early? Can they figure it out early? I mean, their rushing attack last year was very good. You had Isaac Garendo and you had Jawar Jordan just tearing up defenses. Really good defense too. Notre Dame, for example, they absolutely tore up Notre Dame, and there were a lot of games in which Jack Plummer didn't have to Jack Plummer things up because they were easily relying on the run game. I mean, for example, even in the Georgia Tech game, week 1, right? Yeah, sure. Jack Plummer had a great game. Jamari Thrash had an unbelievable game. The passing attack was there, but also, like, they didn't have to, even when they went down, they didn't have to abandon the run game because they were explosive. It's can they be explosive again? You bring in Donald Chaney. Is he from Miami?
Yep.
And then you got Penny Boone as well, our Toledo guy. So that'll be an interesting running back room, and I hope their run game continues to improve. And the offense line's also important as well because you get Tyler Shuck in there because he's got to stay healthy. So my biggest question is, can this offensive line figure it out? Like, who are the five? We don't know. Like, it is going to be crazy competition there at Louisville for the offensive line. I will be interested to see what the beat writers are saying once practices start getting uh, leaked.
Yeah. To me, you're bringing in six offensive linemen in the portal. That tells me not necessarily red flag, but alert, alert. The staff believes that there's a hole at that position, and you're throwing a bunch of darts at it. You're bringing in some smaller school guys, which I love, right? I believe that a lot of guys in FCS or G5 programs can come up and do well at elite Power Five schools or upper level Power Five schools, but we'll see, right? Six guys, it's got to make it work. You got to find five guys on your roster, and even more than that with depth and concerns like that. So obviously, spring will tell us a lot on to what maybe the future of this 2024 Louisville team looks like.